You still go to work as usual, nod and smile in meetings, and tell friends, "I'm doing pretty well lately," but deep down, you know you're slowly falling apart. You remember that exact moment of the drop and the sudden emptiness. Your expression stays the same, your words keep coming, and your routine runs on autopilot, yet inside, it feels like part of you has been hollowed out. You zone out without warning. Your heart races for no reason, and all sounds suddenly feel distant. Your eyes sting while washing dishes, and you can't tell if it's the steam or tears. You realize mid-conversation that you haven't said a word. It's not that you don't want to join in. You're just too exhausted to even pretend properly. You still smile, but it's becoming an automatic script. You still reply to messages, but you ache to turn off the screen. You know you should be fine and tell yourself, don't overthink it, but you can't stop the slow sinking feeling. No one else notices, and you don't want to explain. You've tried opening up before, and they said, "Aren't you being too sensitive, or are you under too much pressure?" You just nodded and swallowed the urge to ask for help. You started pretending everything was okay. It wasn't deliberate. At first, you just weren't sure where it was safe to fall apart. You're afraid of not holding it together, and you're even more afraid others will see you failing. So you say nothing, keep working, finish every task, and maintain the appearance that everything is under control, even when you lie awake all night staring at the ceiling. You still get up at 7, brush your teeth, wash your face, and head out, pretending you slept well. You don't refuse understanding. You're just terrified they'll turn away and say, "Why do you think so much so?" You choose silence. You're no longer living. You're performing living well. No one can see where your edges are fraying, and you even start doubting yourself, wondering if you're overreacting, too fragile, or just need to snap out of it. But you've been trying so hard, really trying. You haven't broken down sobbing, and you haven't lost your temper. You're just quietly, gradually shattering inside. No one sees it, and you barely admit it to yourself. Because admitting it feels like pulling out one brick and watching the whole wall collapse. So you grit your teeth and choke back the words, "I'm so tired." You walk with your head down, never stopping, and keep carrying every responsibility and expectation. You tell yourself, just hold on a little longer, but that little longer has lasted years. You start to feel numbness is safer. You smile because no one will ask why you're crying. Say "I'm fine" because you know it's just polite small talk. And keep everything neat and tidy, because chaos would reveal your fragility. You look put together, but only you know it's a shell. You're slowly collapsing in a corner no one can see. You're great at handling things. Remember every task others give you, and take on extra responsibility so no one else has to. You say, "I just want to help," but really, you're terrified of letting anyone down. You apologize in advance, before anyone even gets upset, and ask, "Sorry, did I say something wrong?" even when you didn't. You hide your emotions so well that sometimes even you can't find them. You can switch from professional mode to family mode in 10 minutes flat after a meeting, and you don't allow yourself to hesitate. You've always been the reliable one, the capable one, the one who never causes trouble. You end every awkward moment with a smile and say, "It's fine, I can handle it, I get it." You're too good at reading the room. You know exactly when to stay quiet, when to play dumb, and when to shrink every feeling. Smiling has become an involuntary reflex, your only sanctioned form of expression, and you even smile when you want to cry. You say things like, "I'm just sensitive, I'm probably too thin-skinned. It's okay, I'm used to it." And you might be staring blankly at your phone while saying this, or hiding in the bathroom regulating your breathing. You know every calm exterior costs you dearly, You swallow the sobs, push down the pain of not being understood, and drag yourself back on track, living the life of someone who has no right to break. You walk through crowds, politely smiling, and no one knows you just deleted a message that said, "I can't keep going." You didn't send it because you were afraid of seeming dramatic, afraid they'd think it was just a mood swing, and afraid the silence after confessing would hurt worse. So you stay quiet. You've mastered looking normal. You clock in on time, socialize on cue, and respond promptly. You even schedule your breakdowns. "I'll cry after this month. I'll fall apart when no one's around." You're too hard on yourself and don't allow weakness, pauses, or requests for help. To others, you're super steady, but you're just carefully maintaining an unbroken facade. You've trained yourself well, but you've also locked yourself in an exquisite cage. You weren't always like this. You used to be direct, emotional, and expressive, and you once shared your joy and anger freely. Then one day, you learned not every feeling is permitted, and not every expression is met with understanding. You started pulling back and learning silence. You began watching others' reactions to calibrate yourself, and started living to avoid being disliked. It wasn't a choice. It was a survival adaptation. Your brain logged every time you spoke up and were rejected. It remembers crying with no one coming, remembers anger dismissed with "don't throw a tantrum," and remembers stating a need and being called too much trouble. So your brain chose a safer route. Shut up, endure, comply. This is a defense mechanism, a smart, natural response when emotions were ignored, suppressed, or shamed. You learned to hide them in advance. You told yourself, silence is safe, calm is likable, and independence keeps you from being abandoned. Your behavior became mature, but really, you had fewer and fewer choices. Your body joined in. You grew hypervigilant, tense, and perpetually on high alert. Sometimes you don't know why you're gasping for air, or why even relaxing feels guilty. Because you're always braced for the next demand. You can't mess up, can't crumble, and can't feel. You believe, if I'm steady enough, I won't be left. That belief isn't wrong. It was the only tool you had in an uncaring environment. You understood responsibility too soon, carried emotions too early, and started playing the strong one long before you were ready, not because you were born tough, but because you had no other option. You were forced to grow up. Some call you introverted, low-key, or easygoing, but they don't see what those labels cost you in lost chances to speak and exist. Your defenses aren't the problem. They're how the younger you kept yourself safe. They're deep wisdom, armor you built piece by piece in chaos or neglect. You're not incapable of expression. You tried and got hurt, so you retreated, not because you're weak, but because you learned softness has no payoff. You're not immune to breaking. You just mastered hiding the cracks first. Your calm, your consideration, and your silence aren't personality. They're survival strategies. Your high functioning isn't pride. It's the price, and you've paid it for too long, too much, and too heavily. Maybe you've forgotten what you were like before, but now you see this isn't a flaw. It's how you protected yourself. Do you remember the day you decided speaking up was pointless? Maybe a childhood moment when you sobbed and the room stayed silent, with no one pausing to hold you. Maybe when you gathered courage to share and heard. Don't be so emotional. You didn't stop trying to connect. You reached out and were pushed away. You didn't stop wanting understanding. You spoke and were dismissed, mocked, or blamed. Some memories blur, but they live in your body's reactions. Your throat tightens when you try to speak. Your body steps back before you lean in. And anger or sadness triggers suppress it. Don't cause trouble first. You're not sure if it's trauma. You just know after that you got quiet. You learned to read faces and started getting expectations in advance. You thought if you were good, mature, and chill, you wouldn't face that emptiness again, so you folded yourself smaller, gentle, accommodating, controllable. That wasn't your original shape. It was the version you engineered for safety. You realized too early that no one stays attuned forever, so you attuned to everyone else. You traded empathy for not being overlooked, and traded "I'm fine" for less conflict. You absorbed others' emotions silently, never tossing out your own. You feared burdening people, and even more, you feared the drop after they walked away. You tried depending once, and no one caught you. You tried expressing, and no one heard. You tried being playful, and got "what's wrong with you now?" so you withdrew. You rehearsed every conversation in your head, but never spoke it. You became quiet, really. Your mind was too loud. The more you suppressed, the more others called you stable. The more you minimized your needs, the more they praised your maturity. No one knew it wasn't chosen. It was the only shield after countless unheard moments. You made yourself small, no noise, no fuss, no tears, until even you could barely hear your own voice. Eventually, you didn't need reminders. You policed yourself. The moment sadness hit, you'd call yourself dramatic, tired. You can't even handle this, want to cry, immediate deep breath, eyes up as if tears were against the rules. You forbade yourself weakness, anger, and need. You were harsher on yourself than anyone. Any ease felt like sin. You believed, be independent or be discarded, be sensible or be left, control feelings or fail. These rules felt native. You couldn't tell where they came from. They seemed part of you. You executed them daily, managing yourself meticulously, never troubling, never crossing lines, never a burden. People find you easy, but it's a self-sacrificial equilibrium. You swallow every conflict and keep relationships polished, but you grow lonelier. You fear your exhaustion being exposed, and fear if you relax, everything pent up will flood out. You start dreading closeness. Closeness means vulnerability, and vulnerability means risk. You start dreading quiet. Quiet means facing yourself, and you've avoided that too long. You fill time with busyness, block sadness with smiles, and stabilize the world with "I'm okay," but you know it's not true. Sometimes at night, a thought slips in. If I vanished, would anyone notice you're not suicidal? You just want someone to see how tired you are. You crave being seen, but you fear being seen. You want closeness, but you fear closeness. You built a wall in your mind labeled safe zone. No approaching, no depending, no expecting. You used logic to cage emotion and control to fight chaos. You became a high-efficiency machine, but the cost is you no longer feel yourself. You forget to eat, smile without knowing why, and cry without knowing the reason. Everything looks orderly, but inside, it's disintegrating. That emptiness isn't boredom. It's a vessel too full to hold more. You look in the mirror, your eyes are gentle but vacant, not from coldness, but from numbness due to overdraw. You don't refuse real living. You just weren't allowed to be yourself for too long. But one day you notice, maybe this isn't because you're not enough. Maybe it's because you weren't treated gently for too long. You thought you went numb, but really, you're exhausted. You thought you were too calm, but really, you learned not to cry in front of anyone. You thought you overthought, but really, you're sensitive enough to catch every hint of danger. You thought you were unlovable, but really no one told you. You don't need perfection to stay. You always assumed the fault was yours, but it was a whole language you learned to survive. You're not weak. You were forced strong too soon. You're not silent. You were taught silence is safe. You're not apathetic. You just weren't allowed to feel. You're not cold. Your fear, caring, leads to disappointment. You're not rejecting love. You fear another push. You're not unfeeling. You've been on defense. That caution isn't flaw. It's wisdom. That calm isn't nature. It's how you stayed alive. You don't need shame for the past she did enough. With what little she had, she got you here. Maybe now you can tell her. Thank you. Thank you for holding order in a world that didn't understand. Thank you for caring for others when overlooked. And thank you for never giving up. You're not collapsing, you're loosening. That urge to cry, to stop, and to do nothing isn't regression. It's your body saying, I'm finally safe enough to feel tired. You don't need to heal instantly. You just need to start seeing yourself. Maybe you're still trying, still waking at night, and still pretending that's okay. Sometimes healing isn't a bold leap. It's allowing weakness. You stop forcing, I must pull it together, and accept unprocessed feelings. In the mess, you relearn breathing bit by bit. You stop explaining everything, stop people-pleasing, and stop fearing misunderstanding. You realize not everyone will see you, but that doesn't erase your existence. You start letting go of must be strong and allow crying, resting, and silence. You live more gently, not I must improve, but I can try less hard today. You find sitting quietly is progress, and doing nothing is repair. You stop chasing wholeness. You just want to breathe authentically amid the breaks. You stop needing universal understanding and choose spaces that feel light. You stop saying be stronger and say, this is enough for today. You start hearing your voice again. It's soft but real. It says, I've been here all along, just unheard for too long. Maybe healing isn't drastic change. It's quiet return to the you before demands of maturity, who dared cry, dared laugh, and who believed the world could answer gently. Healing isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before fear,